In this video, you will be shown how to process your petty cash in the Workday tenant. The form you see before you is the form that you've been using all this time to do your petty cash manually. We will still be using these same forms because it's going to be very helpful for you to consolidate all your data and get it all on one page, and it will help to make it a lot easier to enter in the Workday tenant when everything is all in one place. Please remember that all of our policies and procedures are still required as it relates to petty cash, so make sure all of your forms are proper and signed off on accordingly. Your reconciliation pages that are required as well, bank statements, and each of your receipts need to be legible. Please make sure that you put them on an 8.5 by 11 paper, and most importantly, they should obviously be legible, but you should have a number associated with each receipt. That number should match for 3354 the first entry on your transmittal form, which it is. So this way, it's easier for those looking over this document to match everything that they need to match. Here, if you have more than one receipt and you can fit it on the page, that works as well. You need to take this, you want to save it to your desktop, and you're going to need it because you'll want to upload it into the tenant as an attachment. It is a requirement. You'll be in Workday. This is the Workday tenant. This will be your home page. From your home page is where you will begin to work. Now, the form that's used in Workday to process petty cash is known as the supplier invoice request. In order to grab that form, you need to be able to create it. So the proper command is create supplier invoice request. If you type that here in your search box, it will bring up that option for you. Now you have the ability within the system to only type in the first few letters of each word separated by a space to narrow down your search. So when you put in each letters for each of the words, you get the supplier invoice request. That's the form we're looking to complete. This is the form right here, okay? It's going to automatically default to the person you are who's logged into the system. Here, it's going to give you an invoice date. You can leave that as the date that you're processing this. So what's required on this page will be the company. This is your search. These three lines, click on that. That will give you your options for which company. Obviously, you're going to select the company from which you work. If you're Premier, you select 03L, YI 010, and so on. Very important here is the supplier. Do not do the same search for your supplier because we have many suppliers in the system and it's going to be way too long. The supplier for you will always be the name of your program followed by the last 4 digits of your account, your petty cash account. So for this demonstration, we're going to use Avenue Z as our program. So there's Avenue Z followed by 4 digits of count, so just select that. Then the next thing you want to put here will be your control amount. That's going to be the total of your petty cash. So when you had your petty cash here and you looked at it, the total amount of the petty cash was $190.75. Right here, $190.75. That's the amount we want to put in the control amount, okay? The next thing you want to do is, let me open this up. You have 2 tabs here. You have lines and you have attachments. You do not have to worry about filling out anything here on the right-hand side. You can leave that as is. The 2 tabs you have here are lines and attachment. Lines is associated with your allocation lines. That's what you're coding it to. And your attachments are what it is. Attachments. You want to come to attachments first, upload your attachment. That's going to be that petty cash forms that we were showing you. You will have saved it on your computer and you need to upload it. It is a requirement. You will not be able to complete this transaction without that attachment being up. Okay, you come back now to this tab, which is the lines. It will open up your lines here. You will now begin to enter these lines as they appear here on your transmittal form. So each one of these will be a line added here. So the first thing you want to select will be the spend category. Now, when we were looking at it, receipt number 1 was for Stop and Shop, and it was for client food, as it says here on your transmittal form, client food for $33.54, which is fine. So we want to type in here food. We're looking for that student food. There it is. That's the client food. So select that. 6371 is the number. The next time you have to put something in for consumer food, you can actually just use the 6371. You won't have to type in food. How much was this receipt? This receipt was for $33.54. Cost center is the next thing you need to put in. Cost center in Workday is equal to program number in today's world. So the program number for Avenue Z is 12026. Type that in. I get Avenue Z. It automatically defaults and pre-populates the next 3 boxes. We won't have to worry about that here. Next step, you want to come and you need to put the memo. This will be what you normally would type here. It shouldn't be that T. Perry Day. It should be what the receipt actually was. And the receipt actually was for Stop and Shop. If we look at it, you can see it should really be this here. Stop and Shop. That matches what the receipt actually says. So you want to put in here Stop and Shop. And then most importantly, you need to put in here receipt number 1. That must go there. So for each of your lines, make sure you're putting in the receipt number. Okay, that will complete the line for this particular receipt. Moving on, we have another receipt. Let's go to transmittal form. If you look at the transmittal form, the second receipt is a $43.51, but you'll notice that it's broken up into 2 pieces. It's a household supplies for $39.98 and unallowable expenses, being the taxes, for $3.53. So this means that just the way it's entered twice here to show the different amounts, you need to do the same thing here. So this is one line that we've put in. We've finished with that line. We need to add another line because we're about to add more information. So when you add a line, it immediately opens up a new line. That now becomes gray. That means that's the box you're in to fill in. That's the area you're in to fill in your information. If you notice, it brought over your cost center. So it's intuitive. It starts remembering what you do repetitively, and it will start pre-populating some of these fields for you as you go forward. So this way, it's less that you have to do each time. Okay, and if you notice, it also has the spend category from the consumer food from before. So when you need it the next time, you can always just add it. So this one was household supplies. So come to spend category, type in household, hit return. There's household supplies. Click outside the box. It takes it. Your extended amount for this. We're doing each of those lines. So the first one is $39.98. Okay, and this is also Stop and Shop. Memo, Stop and Shop, receipt number 2. That's for the $39.98. We now have to put the tax portion in, which was $3.53. You need to add another line. Let's add another line. Now in here, it's also going to be the spend category for the household supplies. Although it's taxes, it would have originally been charged to household supplies. So let's put that in. We have the number right in front of us, 6321. So we'll just put that in, hit return, and it makes it a lot easier. So no more search. The extended amount on this taxes was $3.53. So enter that there. Now we have to tell the system that this particular amount was not only household supplies, but it was actually an unallowable expense for taxes. That is done here in the additional work tag box right here. You can leave what's there. Do not hit that X. You want to come to your search and click on it. It will open up the box here. If you notice, there's several here. You're looking for unallowable. If you click on unallowable, it's going to give you a nice selection of different unallowables. We now have the ability within Workday to select the actual unallowable expense. For this particular one, it's sales tax. So you select it and you come out, and there it is. It is now unallowable sales tax. We now told the system that this $3.53 was for household supplies, but more importantly, it was for sales tax. In the memo, you're going to put your Stop and Shop because you want to associate this with the proper receipt. Okay, and this was also for receipt number 2. Okay, this way when your supervisor or anyone else that's reviewing this documentation looks at it, they know, okay, this is for that receipt because they're just going to be a bunch of lines. Okay, and now you'll go through and continue to add your lines. The next line is for consumer food again. That's going to be for $4.78. I know the consumer food is $63.71, so you can just type that in right there. Hit return. And once it gives you the results for that, remember that Workday is an internet hosted site, which means periodically you will have lags like this as you're processing any type of paperwork or documentation anywhere within the tenant, because as a internet hosted site, we're at the mercy of internet speeds. So this is $4.78. I'm going to try to move forward and see if I can go back to that and put in consumer food in the spend category, $63.71. Let's try it again. Okay, so the system, there it is. System was getting a little upset with me, I guess. I'm not sure, but it's working now. So consumer food, and then the name of the that was on the receipt. This is receipt number 3. Receipt number 3 was Coney Island Bagels. So you want to put that in here. So this way, anyone reviewing it knows exactly what that was for. That's going to be receipt number 3. So this is exactly what you need to do when entering your petty cash. Each line, if it's for a tax, you have to make sure that you select the additional work tag, unallowable sales tax. You will notice on this one, which is why I left it there, because I wanted to show you something. Remember, I told you earlier that the system is intuitive, and as it sees you doing something repetitively, it tries to help you out and start to pre-populate certain fields. You need to pay attention to that, because what it did was, for this tax item for 353, when we put it to the unallowable sales tax, it brought that over for this entry now for $4.78, which was just for some student food, right? So we need to take that off. So be very careful when you're entering your petty cash, and be mindful that you're reading these things. Don't just take it for granted that it's exactly correct, because it just included something it should not have. All you need to do is come here, hit the X, and take that out. So this is now a $4.78 entry that's not labeled as unallowable. Very important. Okay, just make sure you're reading it and you look to make sure that all the information there is correct. So in the interest of time, we're going to make it appear as though we entered every single entry from this transmittal form into the system. So I will just put in one more amount so that it ties out to the control amount of 190.75, because right now we've only entered 77.05. So we need to have an entry of $113.70. So I'm going to just enter one more line in as food for the sake of instruction. 63.71. There it is, 113.70. It's food. And you would have obviously put this as the name of the receipt, and then the actual receipt number. Okay. Once you've entered everything in to the system, you will notice that your control amount matches your total amount there, which would also match the amount of your petty cash form that you had manually. Once you do that, you are now finished entering all of the information needed for your petty cash submission. Also, you will have uploaded your attachment as well. Once you've done that, you're ready to submit this for approval. All you do is come to the bottom right-hand side of the page and click Submit. It will automatically now go to a supervisor for approval. That ends this video on how to submit your petty cash within Workday for reimbursement.